On Wilson Bottom Road, in the small town of Enola, Arkansas, there stands what remains of Old Hardin Bridge. The Hardin family was the wealthiest family in this area in the early 1800s. The large metal beams of the bridge still stand on each side of the Cadern Creek. Though the bridge no longer remains, the eerie feeling of a human presence here remains. For years, locals have said to have had strange or even supernatural
Never
experiences.
seen a ghost in this area, but I know when we'd ride horses, that our horses would get maybe about a quarter of a mile from here. They would start getting real spooky, and they'd start be jumpy and snorting and blowing, and we would finally get across the bridge and just get a ways away, and then they'd start calming down.
I even had my own supernatural experience at the bridge. One night, I was driving around with my friend Chris, and we started coming up to the bridge. And of course, like from stories that I heard from my mom, I knew it was allegedly haunted, but never really thought any of it was true. So we get up to the bridge, and he decides to take some pictures for fun, just to play around. And we're exploring around there, and we just get this weird feeling in our stomachs, and that's never really happened to either of us before. It was really weird, but again, we just brushed it off. It wasn't true. So we started heading down the road again, and we got about half a mile down the road, and he's looking through the pictures, and he wants me to look at one really closely. He thought he saw something in the bottom left corner, so he zoomed in, but it was nothing. Then he scrolls just to the right, and we both see a face in the trees. It scared me to death, and I quickly turned on the light in the car. As we further examined it, we saw that it appeared to be a woman in an old-fashioned dress. I wanted it to be fake, but with further research, the figure matched the description of the time period too closely. In the middle of the woods on Hardin Hill are the graves of Jonathan and Elizabeth Hardin. Elizabeth's grave has remained intact for the most part, with only one crack going through the middle. However, there was a rumor of Jonathan's grave carrying a large amount of money, so over the years his grave has become more damaged due to greedy grave diggers. Now, there just remains crumbled pieces of headstone all around the ground. Despite these grave diggers, the bodies are supposedly still there, and only a few feet downhill from them lie multiple unmarked stones sticking out of the ground. To this day, no one knows who they are. About 100 yards up the road is the inn that was owned by the Hardins. Back when it was in business, it was a very nice building with many travelers coming in. It was even said that the James Younger gang, a famous group of outlaws in the 1800s, were frequent guests here. To add to the stories, it is said that some travelers who stayed at the inn overnight became victims of strange happenings. Jonathan Hardin allegedly killed some of the inn's visitors, stole and sold their belongings, such as slaves and horses, then would take their bodies a couple miles behind the inn and dump their bodies off of a cliff. Some people who stayed at the inn never made it back to their families.